Raj. Joseph Raj is a hypnotherapist, is a counseling psychologist. He's got a MPhil in counseling. He's been practicing counseling for more than 7 years. Okay, so he's totally into the field, and he'll come out with a lot of practical examples during our coaching and so on. So I welcome Joseph Raj to take over the session. Welcome, Joseph.
Yes, good morning all of you.
Good morning.
Yes, I hope I am audible to everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Nice. Yes. So it's nice meeting you all in the webinar class about cognitive therapy that we are in which. So first 2 minutes we will have a small discussion then just we are entering into the topic. One example that has happened in past days I can share with you, and I will ask you a question. I hope you will respond to me. So it is about a transfer of a particular person in an office. So we met them into the office, and in the morning as he was joining as a new member in that office, he was distributing chocolate to everyone. Then this is the first day. I thought he has some kind of habit of getting friends just by giving a sweet to them. And then I asked, is there anything special, sir, or just you are starting the relationship with the sweet? Then he said, you know, sir, it's something good news, so I am giving chocolate. Then I thought he is transferred here as a promotional post, so he is giving. Oh, you are promoted here. He said, no, sir, it's not that. This is my 50th transfer. 50th transfer within this 25 years of experience? What do you say, sir? Yes, sir. I never stay in a place more than 4 months or 5 months. It's always being in the transfer. This is my 50th transfer. So I am so happy. I am just celebrating it. What do you think about him? He is a normal person, or he is an abnormal person, or his thinking is correct or non-correct? What do you think, or what do you say? Just few words or 1 or 2 words. How do you judge as a counselor, as a psychologist? His mental status.
It may not be very normal.
Okay. Okay, next, somebody go ahead.
Not normal to feel happy about getting transferred so many times. Not settling.
It's nothing to be, feeling so much proud or feel happy to be transferred always. Yes, that's good. Go ahead.
So his attitude is more defensive.
Defensive. Okay, lovely. Go ahead. Somebody.
And he's externally making a show of being happy.
Happy. Okay. See, these are all a few statements that we are trying to read him because we are psychologists. I'm so happy about that. But he is perfectly okay. He is so cool. He is so happy. He just just moves with anybody at any time. At any point of time, he is able to just go and talk to anybody. In the office, I could see him for 1 month. More or less, he has no issue at all. With everyone, he is so happy, lovely, everything goes well. And I have also seen a person, he has never into the transfers. He used to say in the counseling session that, sir, I have been never transferred from my office unless if it is a promotion or if my terms are getting over, I have been transferred. I feel proud of it, sir. I feel so happy about that. I have been always sincere. What do you think about him, his statement in the counseling hall?
Is that some kind of negative filter he has put on? He has accepted things and turned the negatives into positive aspects and seeing through it in the rosy way.
Lovely. Yes, he has taken into all the things into positive things. Nice, lovely. Somebody?
Whatever happened?
Yeah, Subha.
Can I?
Jency. Okay, Jency, then Subha.
He is able to cope up with the current situation.
Yes, lovely.
And he wants to go with the flow.
Okay, lovely. Good, good, good. Yeah, Subha?
He has taken life, he has accepted life, whatever be the situation, he is accepting and go ahead.
Lovely, 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 lovely.
Thinking whether he is not keeping his feelings inside him.
He is able to manage.
So it means that he is happy.
Lovely, lovely. So good, dears.
It not be judgmental also like that. We need to go to the root cause.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. So to the Atma team members, hi, good morning, all of you. Just a trailer like, just we had something in between. His happiness should not be only depending on, okay, traveling, other things. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. Hi, everybody, come on into the show. 2 minutes, I need their serious attention. Then we will go into the leisure or casual kind of into the topic. See, today topic is about cognitive distortions. I gave you two characters. The first character, I met him on his office. The second character, I said, he explained in the therapy hall. It makes sense. We are psychologists, we are counselors, we go into the topic, and the first one is in the office. He has been transferred many times, he has been traveling all over, not a problem for him. He is able to cope up, he is working, he is going on, moving in his life. He has not come to the therapy hall as a client. But the second one, you all gave him a positive, a normal reply that he is okay, he is good, but he is in the therapy hall. Get into the topic. 2 minutes, just 2 minutes into the topic. Because we people from outside judge a person, but life as such, if you think the cognitive processing as such, if you think, if the cognition helps you to move forward, if the cognitive pattern that you have helps you to be cool and comfortable without anxiety, you seem to be okay for yourself. Others may get a difficulty because of you sometimes. Others may be into trouble because of you sometimes. But you are okay for yourself and you are moving into the life. You don't need anybody's help because you are able to move into your life forward. But there are few people, for everybody they feel good, for everybody they feel, or they judge them, wow, you are super, you are normal, but into them they are disturbed. What's the difference or what's the problem in this cognition? It's a cognitive therapy. I enjoy that just because it is not what happens that matters, it is how you interpret that matters. See, I have met many clients in my counseling hall as a family therapy. Few husband used to say that, see, I have loved her so much, like this, like this, like this, like this. And the opposite party used to say that, he says that, but never in his action he has shown. No, why I gave you this, why I gave you this, why I took you to this place, why I did all this. I don't believe that you loved me. See, the actions were clear, but the interpretation, the meaning given, the importance that has been taken for that act is not reached. Now into the topic. First thing, what is cognition? Cognition is a process of informations that has been derived from perceptions. If this cognition is a process, it is not just a give and take thing. It has a process. There is the informations collected through the perceptions. Then we have 5 perceptions, 5 senses. Through that 5 senses, we receive 5 kind of perceptions. According to the information that has been caught through the senses, the mind does something and extract meaning out of that. That meaning is very, very important in this cognition, the process of cognition. So if the meaning is not taken properly, if the meaning is not given properly, or if that final ending is something wrong, then we check into the process that has happened. There is a cognitive error. That is cognitive distortions. Irrational thinking has been done. There is something that has gone mal practice or mal happening that we have to recheck. If the ending is perfectly okay, if things are going smoothly, then the first person 50 time transfer, really he enjoys it. Out of that, maybe the wife and the children would have had a problem of his transfer, but he has seen into that his transfer of the places has never affected the family, because he was sure that he will be transferring from all the places to all the places. So he settled his family in a place and explained to them that think that if I am in abroad and coming to the home once in 2 years, how can we think like that? But he has explained to the family, think like that. See, it is not real. But he has convinced them that have that kind of feeling, and look, I come even more often than one who is in abroad. I am able to get a salary. I am able to love you. I am able to understand you. I don't, just because I am far away from the family, I am not giving you a feeling that I am far away. Somehow I make it, see, this kind of intelligence, we call it, or a kind of habit, whatever may be the name given, but that person, to the family he is not a problem, to himself he is not a problem, then why this transfer happens, why this kind of attitude? That's a discussion I had in his office, and he says that a philosophy about a life. The philosophy about life he has is something different for him, and he is able to enjoy, he is able to relate, and he is able to move forward, no problem at all. So he is in the office, and the other person, so-called genuine, so-called very good person for everyone, and just things happens in his office, and he takes into the heart that he feels that I have been adjusting my life. What for, sir? Why for, sir? For that why and what for, he is not able to find the answer. Now I feel everybody is using me. I have been cheated for all through. I have been always in the power. I have never punished anybody. I have not done anything harm to any people. But you see, sir, now I am old age, and the people, they are not ready to respect me at all. Lot of cognitive. So in that way, cognitive distortions or cognitive errors, they are irrational cognitives because they are not helping us to move forward. This is the first thing when we encounter into a passion or into a reality or into a thought or a situation given to us as a cognitive therapist. Like any other therapist, we don't worry about here. Here we are taking with the theoretical background what is cognitive distortion according to cognitive therapy. So cognitive therapy, cognitive theory says clearly that which gets into stuck, that which is not helping you to move forward, that which is called fixed fixations. And this kind of pattern of thoughts, pattern of thinking will not allow you to move forward in the life or feel good in the life or move smooth into the life, and so they come to us as a client in the session hall. So in that way, I am so happy. We can have 2 minutes of discussion. What do you think about the explanation I am given here? Then we go on to the 6 more cognitive distortions. What do you think? How do you think? Hi. Just we will go step by step so that it will be interesting. Others are in line? Yeah, come on.
So it is all about what you explained is if a person is inferring or a certain thing or the situation in life in a very positive way, actually not affecting in in his functioning of life functioning in any ways, then it should not be considered as a cognitive distortion. Rather, it can be adaptive situation.
Exactly the same that I am trying to communicate. I am so happy. I am so happy that Sada, you have caught it correctly. I am so happy. Now the problem will come as a person. If you are as a person, if you think, then what about the values? What about the system? What about this? What about that? What about meaning? What about the cultural backgrounds? See. We are in a therapy hall. As a mirror, we are sitting there. We don't have any personal involvement into the session. We are, as a counselors, we are thinking. It's a professional way of explaining. It's a professional way of thinking things. Okay. You have your own values. Let it be with you. You have your own system. Let it be with you. Not to the client, not to the plan, not to the session, not into the point. We are professionals sitting there as a mirror. Just reflecting the client, one who comes to us. If it is not helping him, helping her to move forward into the life, just wicked. See, this is a concept. I am happy. Somebody explained. Others? Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
so you are saying that whatever the customer or client says, we take it at face value. If he says he's happy, we agree to it. And if he says, I am transferred but I have a problem, only then we find out.
Exactly. Lovely. Super.
So though he's transferred and he says I'm happy about it, then that is fine.
Very fine. Lovely. Yes.
So if a client feels that he's not fine, he will come to us.
That's a point. Exactly. This is cognitive. See, life has more interest just because of this cognition. People are cognitive oriented people. And this cognition is not something totally taken to be as an objective thing. See, one more example I can give. The court is there. The law is there. And we could see a lot of drama for every case that happens. The lawyers, and they are struggling hard into the court to fight for justice, and if it is not done, then we go to the higher courts and there are higher appeal possibilities. See, if a case is there, it has to be typed into the computer, the law is there. Why not in a sentence the judgment is given? Why there is such a play, such a game, or such a drama, or such a... See, the interpretation of the law. The law is there, but the interpretation can be taken according to everybody's interest or situation. So, it is according to the... somebody, you can switch off your mic. Yeah. So that my voice can be clear. Others, kindly switch off your mic. Yeah. Yes. Lovely. So, in that way, the interpretation of the law, that makes the whole show of court. In that way, the interpretation of the meaning taken for the information or the perceptions that we have, that matters a lot. It is how you take the meaning into yourself. What kind of meaning you are giving into the informations that you are gathering for your life. That makes sense, not just the informations. Because cognition is a process. It's a process of processing the informations that are received. If that process is properly done, if the outcome is perfectly okay, then you are moving forward into the life, and it goes lively. Because the cognitive distortions are called irrational and illogical. Irrational and illogical. Two words we are taking. One is about irrational, another one is illogical. There is a system. If the things are going logically, then we come to a better way of life. If things have been processing properly with the rationality, with the rational prime, then the things will be okay. So in that way, it should be logical, it should be rational. If it is not rational, it is not going to help you. Now, for somebody who is in a shock to hear maybe how he can be happy even after all these kind of transfers, just I ask him, okay sir, lovely, whatever you say is good, I am so happy. Okay, now when you are alone at your home, when you are with yourself, when you think about all your transfers, what comes to your mind? What kind of feeling you get? Then if the person says that, sir, when I think, I feel so happy, how many persons I have met, how many personalities I have met, what kind of the world it is, wow, it is very marvelous. A lot of experiences has given me a kind of maturity that if now with other people, when I am moving, I become so soft and gentle, sir. In the previous days, when I am getting transferred, I used to fight with people. I used to move in a hard way when I go into a new situation. I thought that I can change them. I thought that I was in an atmosphere of getting the whole office into my own control. That kind of ideas used to have. Now, I feel so happy to go to a place because I am just encountering new personalities, new things, and it gives me more joy, more peace. It's okay, sir. Only difficulty is that the food system, when I change my places, it affects my stomach, but perfectly okay. I learn to cook now, so I cook for myself. It's a kind of peaceful life I have. That's perfectly okay. If the client says that, sir, every time I challenge the officer, I see whether they are me. I always start my fighting with them. See, in the beginning, when they were transferring me in the new office, I was struggling. Now I know all the tricks. When I go into the office, the people, those who are around me, can never sleep, sir. I know all the tricks. I know how to take the issues into the upper, office levels, and everybody will be frightened of me. I feel so happy about that. This is a sadist mentality. We have a term for that, sadism. Making others feeling bad, making others wounded, and if he is getting joy, it's a sadism. Now, one more step also I will explain, then we will come to the discussion. If he is a sadist, know that for 7 years I am in the counseling field. As they are doing now, they may feel happy, but as the time goes, when they come into a certain kind of consciousness, or when their super ego, or when their moral sense somehow or sometime later in their life, if it is coming up, they feel guilt about that, all that is happening. See, there is negative thing, but this person thinks that, why can't I enjoy the negative thing? See, this is illogical or irrational. The rationality is that if you are positive, you feel good in your life. If you are negative, somehow it is going to end in negative. Maybe in suicide out of guilt, maybe in depression out of this guilt, or maybe in the later days into a kind of anxiety that why I have been always like that. Because when the moral maturity, emotional maturity within himself, due to the age or due to certain kind of experiences, when it is coming up, he is going to feel depressed. So this is depending upon, see, the process, the information, the transfer is not a matter. If it is going to end in positivity, if it is going to end in negativity, we could see that. For that also I can ask, okay sir, when you are at your house, when you are with yourself, what do you think? If that person is saying that all this, and okay, after all that, are you able to sleep well? When you are getting up in the morning, what kind of thoughts will be going on in your mind? Then the second person surely will say that, when I get up in the morning, what kind of problems will be available in the office, I do not know. So I always think, okay. A kind of preoccupied mind, a kind of preoccupied sense always is there, and slowly it will take him into the anxiety. So the cognitive therapy is so interesting. It is purely subjective. It is purely up to you, the person, one who gives meaning into the information, sensational informations that have been taken. But if it is to be rational, if it is to be logical, if it is to be positive, it is going to end in positivity. So in that process, now what are the 15 cognitive distortions that we are seeing? They are cognitive distortions because they have not helped the client. They have not helped the person to move into the life, forward into the life. So in that way it has been started. Lovely? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, lovely. We go into the topic that has been given to for us. Then we come back to the discussion. Now, magnification. Why it is a cognitive distortion is that there is a error. Practically there is a mistake that has happened. We don't deny the mistake. It is there, but giving more importance or meaning for that particular mistake or event that has happened is called magnification. See, the person has got a low mark. Yes, that's true. The thoughts coming up to his mind is that just because I have got low mark, my parents are going to hate me. They will not love me. So why should I live? So it can take him into suicidal thought. Or the low mark is the reality. And he is giving more importance and meaning for that low mark and saying that, okay, I have got only low mark. Okay, I cannot succeed in my life. What is going to happen after all these marks? Then he is into panic out of fear. So this is magnification or minimization. See, there would have been a problem out of this person into the house. He is the cause of all the problems that is happening in the house, and he feels or thinks that, not me. What's the problem in that? I always get up 11 o'clock in the morning. What's the problem? My mother let her wait for me and go to the school as a teacher. My father let him wait and go to the office. Let him drop me there. What's the problem? I am their child. I am their sweet child. They have to wait for me. See, getting up late is a problem. And he is minimizing into a problem that why not others change themselves to me? It's a small matter. I am getting up at 11 o'clock. What's the problem for them? This is minimizing. One is magnification and another is minimization. These two things are cognitive errors because they are not going to end in a good result. So the magnification causes panic attack, excessive of fear out of that. Even it can end a person not able to act. Suppose in a team, football team or volleyball team or any sports, a particular person's mistake is a mistake, no problem. But if that person thinks that out of this mistake the whole team is not going to play, then I am stuck. A kind of panic into the ground will not help him. This is magnification. Otherwise, the person, for example in the football, in the front he is always playing. Every ball is passed to him. He is the person who is supposed to put the goal. And he just misses it. 4 times he missed it. And the coach is calling him. Okay, now let us change the person. And he says, what's the problem, sir? It's all, after all a small mistake. See, I just tried, but it is not. We will see next time. See, there's no place, there's no time, there's no space for his mistake to be there. And he is minimizing that. So these kind of places we can understand this minimization and magnification. They are called binocular trick and both are irrational, illogical. They have not given due importance. Over meaning is wrong and underestimating is also errors. This is a kind of understanding. This happens mostly in a team kind of activities or things related with others mostly. Then 8, emotional reasoning. It refers to the acceptance of one's emotions as facts. Emotional rationing. See, they are two different entities. Emotion is purely subjective. That will not have a range. It goes up or it goes down. That kind of things are there always in the emotion. Reason is always one who is with the control going very steadily. Now, if the emotionality is taken into the rationality, then there is a problem. Emotionally I feel something and so I make it as a fact. For example, if I feel guilt in the morning today, then I think, no, morning I had made a mistake. What kind of mistake you did? I don't know, sir, but I feel guilt, so I should have done something bad in the morning. I don't know what I did. This is from the emotion going back. See, I am not in a mood today. Then what I feel? Okay, I am not in the mood. So morning, just because I was scolding something or taking something or some activities he would have done, and just because of this emotion, and he is naming that as a bad thing. I feel helpless. Why? Because the problem that I am facing is very big. I cannot solve it. It is getting reverse. If the problem is big really, and out of that I am trying to get a helplessness, then we can say, see, the problem is there. If you are being empowered, the problem will be solved. Then why do you worry about the helplessness? Here it is not like that. Somehow I don't know about the reality. I feel helpless. I have a problem to solve today, and I feel that the problem is big. I cannot solve. The problem is so very grand. It is highly impossible for me to solve the problem. Why you feel like that? Because I feel helpless. No, say something about the problem. I don't know anything about the problem. Why should I worry about the problem? I feel helpless, so the problem should be big. So this is a irrational, illogical thought, emotional reasoning. The ninth point, very interesting thing, mostly many of the people uses this in their life, should statements. In my case, most of the family therapy, the problem comes to this. You say, sir, how a wife should behave? You say, sir. Okay, you say, no, a wife should respect the husband to the extent that, okay, you are expecting your wife to be more respectful towards you. Can I understand like that? No, sir, I am not saying that I am expecting my wife to be like that. No. Any wife should be. Should statements, no, in our life also we always use with our friends. That's an error. We don't deny that. If it is not taking you to the therapy hall as a client, then no problem. It happens, as a friend. What you should have been done? Come on, say. You should have done this to me because you are my friend. As a friend you have not done, so you are not my friend. Should statement in relationships with friends, in relationship with husband and wife, in relationship with even office. Sir, say, sir, my manager, as a manager, how one should behave? You say, sir, as a manager, how one should behave? Then, sir, why do you say that? No, sir, any manager should behave. So these should statements are cognitive errors, cognitive distortions. They are illogical because there is no such a should or to the person. For me personally, if I am using that as a person, see, as a husband, how I should behave, then I say a statement, then I say, I have not done that, so I am not a perfect husband, even I am not eligible to be a husband, I am not at all a person. So this kind of guilt feeling will be going on increasing, because the should is a kind of superego, moral values that we frame in front of us. When we are framing in front of us a certain should value, we may not always able to meet that should or to do, might do. So this kind of statements creates, as a person, if I have should statements for me, it creates this guilt feeling. For others, if I am having, it creates disappointment always, because if we have a should statement, that can never be met. Sometimes it can be met, perfectly okay, we are so happy. But most of the times the should statement is something, a utopian concept that we are having. So this is illogical and this is error in the cognition. So this is about relationship, it always comes. So why I am saying particular place what for the teamwork, for when we are emotionally moved into the relationship concept, mostly they will be like that only. In my experiences, that's how I have been seeing. So when the cases are into that, you can easily identify, okay, it is a cognitive distortion, okay, it's a relationship, well, let it be shoot, okay, we note into the point and we just write shoot, lot of shoots, okay, then easy to work out with. Then 10th point is labeling and mislabeling. Labeling is basically extreme forms of overgeneralization. Overgeneralization already we have seen. If that overgeneralization is assigned with a judgment, value-based judgment, then it is called labeling. Overgeneralization, I am always doing mistake. This is overgeneralization. So if I am always doing mistakes, I label myself as a fool. What do you say, man? I am a fool, So friends, you decide anything. Why that? See, I am a fool, that statement or labeling is not needed. I may not know something about this, so you decide, that's perfectly okay. Otherwise, whenever I decide it goes wrong, man, why can't you try? You somebody try, see, that's perfectly okay. Because for the last few experiences, it has been a mistake of my decision. Then the friends says, wait, last few things you did mistake because you do not know. But this is your field. You know the things very clearly. You say we will follow. If they are saying that, if I am moving forward, perfectly okay. Because I said something difficulty of myself and they said no, then I moved forward. I say no man, I am a fool. Why do you disturb me? I am a failure. You know very well. Then why do you ask me to do that? I am a failure. I am an unlucky person. So this kind of fool, failure, unlucky, all these kind of words are labeling. Particularly recent days in my case, I meet many clients, they come with labeling, this kind of labeling. It's very, very sad thing or wounding thing for me as a personally with the counselors I am sharing. You are all now counseling teams I am sharing. One girl, she came for a counseling therapy. Often she was using that. See, as I am a depressed patient, I feel this. Then I was saying, stopping in between. For every 3 statement or 4th statement, you are saying that you are a depressed patient. Who gave you that word? She said, I went to that particular hospital and they said, I am a patient because, these are all the things I have. So I am a depressed, I am in the state of depression. So I am a depressive patient. See, that particular coining of words, labeling, that makes her to think that because I am a depressive patient, I should be like that. Labeling has a more powerful, it's a more powerful weapon to kill anybody, to underestimate anybody, to make somebody inactive. See, I met with a client, she has some symptoms of schizophrenic. I don't deny that, I explained, but the willpower and the effort that she is taking is able to be normal. We have a movie of we have even Nobel Prize for somebody who is a teacher, as a maths teacher, and he's a schizophrenic patient, yet he was able to cope up into the normal life. I forgot to do the movie name, finally we will ask okay, but the concept is very clear. There are persons with schizophrenic patients, they have been into the normal life. There are, but it's not normal. There are people, and I could see that this client and the schizophrenia that she has is not to the extreme. And as she was talking to me, she always says that I'm a schizophrenic, so I am a schizophrenic. Then I asked, how do you know about this? Then she said, I went into the Google and read how a schizophrenic patient will be. I had these symptoms and I confirmed that I am a schizophrenic patient. The symptoms are there. There are some things are there. We don't deny that. But why should we label as schizophrenic? I asked her. Then it was a long journey for me to re-label. Never label that word. You have some symptoms. We don't deny that. Traits are there, but you are not into the patient. We will try. You try, and you can become a normal person. Never think that you are a schizophrenic, but have that you have some symptoms, and you can overcome, and you can be a normal person. These are all the examples. This was a session I had. So schizophrenia is a term, label. If that has been given, they think that we have to behave according to the label. So never label. So labeling, mislabeling is irrational, illogical. I am happy in the cognitive therapy they have given this very strongly. Don't label somebody as a criminal, as a thief. See, I used to say that one time one person has stolen something. We label him as a thief. If somebody is speaking, now I am speaking, can I label myself as a speaker? Everybody is speaking, even the small child is speaking. Shall we name the baby as a speaker? No. Speaker has, it's a label. And all that persons are speaking are not speakers. I write a poem sometimes, then can I label myself as a poet? We don't do that. But for evil things, we label easily. See, it has a lot root into the life. I am happy. Then, personalization. The 11th point is about personalization. And this personalization, it is thinking everything personally. There are a few clients we will be having. They will have low self-esteem mostly, or they will have a lot of complexes. These kind of clients will come with this personalization distortion. Cognitive error. It's very interesting. It was not in the therapy hall, but the trade, a small symptom was there. We were friends having tea and this snacks, vada, and we were eating, and there was a small talk just passing through, and one of our friends just threw that snack vada, and the talk ate, and another one friend just throw the piece of this snack, and the talk was little hesitating, and the person said this sentence. I'm so much interested about that, and the person said, high talk, kindly eat. Don't make me put down. Don't make me put down here. They will laugh at me. Kindly eat. With fun only. He was saying that. This is personalization. Best example. But it has happened. And the talk was little big. I told the friend, hey, what is your problem? The talk, if it is feel like eating, it is going to eat. If it is not feel like eating, it is not going to eat. But why do you take it personally that if it is not eating, it is judging me? See, minute things. But personalization, in lot of situations, people personalize like that. One of the client told, sir, why tsunami came? It is because of me. Because of you, tsunami came. You are such a powerful person. No, sir. See, I have never went into that seashore. My parents used to say that we will go. Without any interest, with cursing, with anger, I went with them that particular day, Christmas holiday, to that seashore, and the tsunami came. We were lovely escaped, but it is because of my unwillingness to go there, the tsunami happened. Personalization. Lot of people take the things that, friends, suppose if there is accident happens, it is because of me. If somebody is dead in my family or anywhere, it is because of me. If something has happened, small things has happened, it is because of me. Because of me having like this, it has happened. So this is a kind of, there will be no logic. There will be no evidence. There we cannot, a small kind of, connections will be there, but immediately they say, this is a personalization. And the final point that we are supposed to discuss it, control fallacies. There will be 3 fallacies, that can be taken even tomorrow also. Control fallacies, and fallacy of fairness, and fallacy of change. Yeah, lovely, Francis, our moderator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you done?
The final point also I will finish. Control fallacies.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely then. Then control fallacies. The concept about control, the fallacies. What is a fallacy? For following three, you have this idea. What's a fallacy? The fallacy is something that is false, that which is not logical, that is which is not rational, that which is not to the system. Then the control about life, it's the following things you will be having. A belief system, it's challenging the belief system. The belief system is that fatalism, the world moves according to the fate. Then what's the problem? See, I am a helpless human person. What can I do, sir? I cannot do anything else. It happens due to the fate. So that's all. My life is, that's all. This helplessness, just thinking that the world can never be controlled. The events that happens in my life, that never be controlled. And another one thing is feeling, no, I have every control in my life. Each and everything into the life, I decide, I design, I can. So two extremes. But life we see, we have certain control, but certain things we are not able to control. That's how the life moves. The life energy has its own, the universal energy has its own, but into that, I am not a victim. I am not a helpless person, or I am not somebody without any strength. I too have strength. This is compromise between my strength and the universal strength. That's how the life goes. But it's not simply that I am a victim, or it is I am the owner, I am the master of the creation, so I have all the power. So these two concepts will be a cognitive distortions. If a person is able to manage and mix, oh, these are all the things that I can understand, I can move. Okay, this is how I have tried my level best. If it is not, oh, what can I do? That kind of medium kind of understanding about control is good. Yeah, 12 distortions that we have finished.
Good work, Joseph. Very
Yes,
good.
lovely.
Friends, do you have any questions to Joseph? You want to pose any questions to him? Or do you want to interact with Joseph?
Sir, did you speak about fairness and change policy?
That we are going to discuss tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, you spoke about personalization. So,
Yeah.
it is only about the low esteem, or it is also about the high self-esteem that someone says that, if something is good, that it is happening with me. So it is, I'm feeling that others are anti-meaning other people. So that also comes as under personalization.
Yeah, sure. Anything that you take into yourself as a personal thing that has happened into your life, but you no way you are a reason for that, but you take into yourself that you are the reason. Yes.
Maybe you can include the histrionic personality disorder. The histrionic personality disorder, people think of grand things, a sense of grandeur is there in the particular person. They think always that they are bigger and all the others are nothing before them. Okay, so for them it can happen. So it's also fallacy. Yeah, right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
If people don't have any questions, then I'm going to tell you what we are going to tomorrow. What we are going to do tomorrow. Okay. So in the beginning,